Hey folks, welcome back to Max Nate Horsemanship yet again. And well, I warned you, but not many people watched that video. I said there's a good chance that, well, there might be a bit of a gap in my videos, and for reasons that I'm not going to elaborate on, that just because of a lot of changes, that, well, you might not see a whole lot of me for the next while. Just extenuating circumstances just mean that, I might not be able to do a whole lot of videos for you. But I'm going to try, and I'm going to see what we can do about, creating some content for you, some things to watch, something a little bit educational. But, well, this ain't my first rodeo, so to speak. No, we're not rodeoing it. But we did just, like I said, some circumstances came up that are, well, rather negative and causing problems and making life difficult, but it's not the first time this has happened. And I'm not going to go into great detail about it, other than to say that you're going to experience something similar. Something in your life is going to, well, maybe it has nothing to do with horses, but it's also quite possible that what I'm experiencing right now, and again, like I said, it's not the first time something like this has taken place, but it can be very similar. It can be very similar to your journey with your horse. And there's always going to be the naysayers, guaranteed. There are going to be people that are going to say, you can't do it, or that's the wrong horse for you. And, well, sometimes that might actually be true occasionally, but not very often. A lot of the times it's just, if people see you doing something that they can't do themselves, they get jealous, and the way they feel better about themselves is by criticizing you. Now, my personal experience has been on more than one occasion. People have actually gone out of their way to make my life difficult enough that, well, it actually made it very hard for me to do the things I want. Now, if you have a goal, a dream, a passion, anything in your life, not just horses, but anything, don't let someone dissuade you from doing it. And particularly with your horses, because, well, that's what this channel's all about, is horses. You may have to move your horse from one place to another. You might have to move. You may end up with facilities that aren't so good. You may end up with all kinds of inconveniences and difficulties in your journey with your horse and the things that you're doing. But don't let that stop you. If that's your goal, if that's your dream, if that's your passion, do it. And don't let anybody stop you. Because, well, years ago, and I've heard it many times from different places, and it's got to do with psychology and all that stuff that a lot of you don't really give a crap about. But hey, there's absolutely nothing that you can do about what other people do and their behaviors. And that kind of goes back to a video I did about fireworks and how it's up to you to properly train your horse so that it doesn't freak out when there's fireworks, because, well, you might have a goofy neighbor that no matter what you ask and say, they're still going to set off the fireworks. Well, you have zero control over other people, you know that? Yeah, none. You got no control over them. The only person that you have control over is you. And that is what this kind of comes down to. And, well, it's similar to what I said about the fireworks is, you can train your horse to deal with the fireworks and not freak out. You can also continue on with your dreams, your passions, your goals, regardless of what anybody else does to try and make your life difficult. Because, like I said, it's going to happen, guaranteed. And the level of difficulty, that can vary a lot from one situation to another. Whether they actively do things to make your life difficult and almost impossible sometimes, or maybe it's just something verbal they say that kind of discourage you and make you feel like a failure or you can't do it. It's like, just remember, that's just the word of one person. Well, maybe two or three are going to say silly things too, but that's just what they say. Never mind what they say. It's what you believe. And there are going to be days, I can assure you, no matter how good your skill level gets with your horse, there's going to be days, even without any interference, where you're going to get frustrated and start questioning yourself and thinking, what the heck am I doing? I can't do this. Wrong. You can do it. It's kind of like the saying is, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Because what you believe is what determines your ability to do it. And that's one of the important things when you're working with your horse, because sometimes it might seem real difficult, but honestly, once you get the hang of it, there's only a handful of basic principles that really come into play that you always have to apply to every situation. And once you get the hang of that, well, you'd actually be surprised how much you can accomplish. And, well, even if you're discouraged, even if people say you can't, it's like, hey, if you believe you can, eventually you'll get there. You know, I didn't have a lot of training, per se, from other people. I've learned a lot from other people, from either reading articles or watching videos, that sort of thing. But one-on-one, no, I've had very, very little experience or education from other people, just the way it is. But I never stopped believing that I could do it. Once I started getting the hang of things and figuring out that, because, and now for me it's a little bit easier than some people, because I just always did have a bit of an affinity for animals. And I started figuring out that the more I did stuff, the easier it seemed to be. And I started figuring out, you know what, we can do this. Yep, we can do this. And the more I do it, the more I realize how easy it is. And that's one of the themes of this channel that I have often said is that, hey, if I can do it, so can you. I'm nobody special. And I know for a fact, you know, and that's one of the things that, you know, when I do various demos that make it look easy, well, it's a little bit easy for me because I've got a little bit of experience with it and I know how to do it. But the whole point of those demos is to prove to you it's not what I can do with a horse. It's what you can do. I'm showing you what you can do because I'm nobody special. I'm the same as you. And like I said, there's going to be the naysayers. There's going to be the people that are going to actively make your life difficult, no matter what your dreams and passions are. But don't give up on those things and don't ever stop believing. And you will eventually someday become a pretty darn good horseman. Not much different than what I'm doing. Because, like I said, if I can do it, so can you. Have a good day.